This conference will now be recorded.
And now we're recording. So, good morning. My name is Patrice Valentine. Today we are going to be taking a look at the website audit that we make available for you to be able to run for your clients or potential clients. So, this website audit typically takes a couple of hours to actually, from the moment you request it from us, to actually get it in your hands, because it does go through quite a bit of information. So, today I just want to talk you through what is actually included in that website audit, so that when you have one that you've created for your client and you're delivering it to them, that you can speak somewhat intelligently about what actually is included in that audit. So hopefully you can see what's on my screen here. Actually, I know you can. So we'll just kind of go ahead and go through this 17-page report. Shouldn't take too incredibly long to go through this. This first page that you see is just the cover page. It tells you when this audit was actually created. So this one was done about a week ago on October 11th. It shows you a screen capture of what actually the website, what website we're actually reviewing. So this one is Sylvester and Cockrum Inc. They're an HVAC company in North Carolina. So you can see this is what the website looks like. And it shows the tablet view. So this actually is not a what you would see if you looked at it on a full screen. This is showing you the tablet view. So it kind of gives you a screen grab of what that website looks like. It gives their information. Again, this is all information that we put into the report before it is run. And then you'll be able to see the private branding here on the next page. So it is branded, so it would show your company name with your address and your email address down here at the very bottom on the footer. So you'll see that on the next screen. As we scroll through to page 2, you get kind of an executive overview of what's going to be shown on the rest of this report. So you see it looks at on-page optimization, mobile friendliness, keyword rankings, off-page optimization, some visibility as far as in directories, how visible their name, address, and phone number is, reviews, social, and then the last thing we look at here is a competitor analysis. And then this gives you the overall website score. So this is actually one of the better ranking sites that I've seen. It got a 48 out of 100, which still you might think, gosh, that's not fantastic. But we have seen one as low as 7 out of 100. So I wanted to show you one that was kind of average, not completely horrible, because this website, while it is a nice looking website and it is, pretty good as far as when you look at it, it responds well when you're looking at it on a mobile device, there is still room for some improvement. And I'll show you what the improvements can be once we get further on into this report. So here you see the custom branding. So this report was actually run for Roger Casey at Casey Creative, powered by Proforma. So you can see we've included his logo and then his contact information down there at the bottom. So as we jump to page 3, the first thing we see is we're looking at the on-page optimization report or analysis here. And our audit ranks these by high priority problems, medium priority problems, and then low priority problems. Now, this website actually ranked pretty well in that there's not a lot of issues. So you see these ones that are grayed out right here. This actually is not a problem for this site. So this one is actually ranking pretty well. It's saying there are no high priority problems at this time. There's only one medium priority problem, and that is that there are 17 images on this website that are missing their alt tag. So they're missing that alternative description tag. And then there are no low priority problems. Now, you're going to run across a website if you do enough of these audits, you're going to run across some of these websites that do have an issue that are what we would consider high priority problems. I don't want to go into too much detail here, but all of these issues here, when you go through and you optimize a web page, so when you actually take a page and go through and make sure that the content has keywords, that there is a title created, that is what all of this on page is looking for. It's actually looking on the page itself to see what issues are there. So this one is saying there are no duplicate titles. So there are not 2 pages on this website that have the same title. There is Google Analytics code installed. So this one actually has analytics installed. The titles are the appropriate length. The title is one of the most important things on your website. So this one is saying the title is actually just fine. The page title is not missing. This one has it just fine. The description field is filled out correctly. The schema tags, which tells in the code, which tells the author of the website where they're located, it just gives some kind of critical details. That is fine on this site, as well as the heading tags, or that H1 tag is fine on this site as well. So you might come across a website that actually has some of these where the title is too short or it's missing information, and that's just something you're going to want to talk through with the client. But that is content that appears on the actual web page. So it's looking at the actual page there. Same thing with the medium priority. These ones are a little bit more self-explanatory. Slow pages, obviously, I think you can explain that one to a client that it's slow loading. If you have any duplicate information or if the title is too long, all of that is going to appear under the medium priority problems. All right, if we skip down to page number 4 here, again, we're going to look at more on-page optimizations. We're actually looking at the page and how it was created. It takes a look at the page titles, the H1 tags. This is, again, these are all getting the green checks for the Sylvester and Cockrum site that we're looking at. All of these get green checks because the H1 tags are created. There is a sitemap. Analytics code is installed. It's saying here that we are getting a red X for the site response code, and that is kind of more of a technical issue in that the server is not responding with the correct response code. So we just would want to take a look at that and make sure that there's no technical error happening. There's the correct meta description. You get a red X here for word counts. And again, a lot of the times on these audits, if you read the paragraph below, it's going to explain it. So you can actually see that this one is saying the homepage only has 195 words, which ideally we'd like to see that bumped up to about 250 or more words. That's a little bit easier for a search engine to go through and index and figure out what your page is all about if you give them more content to work with. So this one is saying your homepage has a little bit low content on that, so that's why you're getting a red X on that one. But the rest of these, you get green checks. Again, you're going to come across a site that might have red X's on all of these. It might just be missing the mark on all of the on-page optimization, and that really does give you a good, something really good to talk to your client about on things that they can update to make their website easier to find in the search engines and easier for users to actually use and understand what's on the page. So we'll jump down to page 5. This one tells us that there are 93 pages currently found in Google, so that's good. That Google is able to index this page, and 93 pages have been found. And if we scroll down, there's an SSL. So we've done a whole webinar on the importance of having an SSL certificate. And this one, again, is just saying now that this site does have an SSL, so you can see it as a secure site. If this site did not have an SSL, you'd have the red X here, and it would say your website is not secure, and then it would give that basic kind of recommendation saying you really should purchase an SSL certificate to make your website the HTTPS, to make sure that SSL is installed. All right, if we scroll down to page number 6 here, now we look into mobile friendliness. Back in April, I think of 2015, Google said that mobile friendliness was actually going to become a ranking factor for websites. So if you don't have a mobile site, your website is not going to be ranked as well as a website that does have a mobile site or is mobile optimized. So mobile friendliness is a very important factor in making sure that your website ranks well. And then obviously just for usability reasons, your website should look well and function well on a mobile device. So it just gives us some information here on the mobile friendliness. So it tells us there's a little screenshot of what the website looks like. It tells us directly from Google that Google considers your website as mobile friendly. These scores actually come directly from Google's Test My Site link. So it gives the mobile friendliness score. It's a little bit there in the red for the mobile speed. There are things that you could do to speed up this website to make sure that it loads quickly on a handheld device. And same thing on a desktop device. And actually, I think the barrier for the speed here is this little gentleman here, because he takes a little bit of time to load and he auto plays. So when you go to their website, if you visited it right now, the website would load, and then a couple seconds into it, you would see this gentleman comes on the screen in the lower right-hand corner and starts giving you a spiel about the company. So I think he is actually one of the barriers that's causing this website to not get a better mobile speed and desktop speed score. And then if we scroll down, we look at the mobile friendliness. So we looked at the speed there and then the mobile friendliness. So this tells us that the size is there is a viewport set so that it tells the content how to react based on the size of the screen. So if it's a smaller screen, the text is going to rearrange itself so that it is viewable on a smaller screen. If it's a larger screen, it's going to expand so that it looks good on a larger screen. It says we have a consider fixing here for the size tap targets appropriately. So that is a very strangely constructed sentence, it sounds like. But what it's saying is somewhere on your mobile site here, the buttons that you'd actually tap with your finger, you might want to make them a little bit bigger is what that is saying. So Google might be reading this page and saying either the learn more button, or it could potentially be looking at this pause and refresh button or the X button on our video guy here. It doesn't tell you exactly what buttons. It's just saying, hey, you might want to go take a look at the tap targets, so the buttons, and make sure that they are large enough so that you don't mistap something. So you might be trying to pause this guy and accidentally hit the volume up button, which would be the total opposite of what you want to do. So it's just telling you to make sure that you've got the buttons sized appropriately for fingers being used on a mobile device. And then everything else on this one is green. So you're avoiding plugins, the viewport is configured correctly, the font sizes are legible. So everything on here, again, this is coming directly from Google. All of that is saying it's very good. Now we get into the mobile speed. It's telling us here are some things we could do to optimize the speed. So we can optimize the images. Images used for desktop websites, they can be very large. So sometimes 2,200 pixels wide, which can be really, much too large to actually load up onto your mobile device. So you want to make sure you're optimizing the images for the size and make sure that they're not huge images being downloaded. You can eliminate some CSS and some JavaScript. So that's kind of some more technical information that we could take a look at if they're looking to keep their existing site and just optimize it. There's some things here that we can technically go in and take a look at. But then it tells you that there's a lot of good things being done on this as well. So even though it looks like their score for mobile speed is really poor, they really only have 2 items here that Google is recommending that they fix, and other ones they should look at as consider fixing. And really the majority of these are green, so that they have passed according to Google's mobile speed test. And then again, now we're going to look at the desktop speed, and it gives us again some ideas on what we can do to fix the desktop speed, on how we can actually speed up the website, the loading time. So it looks like even some of the images on desktop are too large. We can leverage some browser caching to make sure that when the user comes back to the site, they're not having to reload every element on the page every single time. So we can do some caching elements there. And then again, some technical items that we could take a look at if we're going to go in and take a look at the site. But again, there's a lot of green arrows here, or a lot of green checks there too. So they are doing some things correctly. It's not all bad on this report. And then we do give a little bit of information on why a responsive website, meaning it's not 2 different websites. There's not a mobile version of the website and a desktop version of the website necessarily. There's a single version of the website, and it responds. That's why it's called responsive. It responds to the size of the monitor that's actually viewing the site. So smaller screen size, the website is going to respond accordingly and make the website smaller. So we just give some reasons here on why that is such a good, why that's a good strategy when you're creating your website. And then if we scroll down here to page 9, this is where you can see this client got 0 out of 10 currently for the SEO opportunity. So when we generate these reports, we have the opportunity to put in a few keywords that this client might want to rank for. So I happen to know that this client, I've been on a conference call with them before. They are electrical contractors, but they also do plumbing, HVAC, and then some refrigeration. So they have a lot of things that they actually do for both commercial and residential in the Winston-Salem area. So we put in some keywords that they might want to be found for, and it tells us right now that if we look in the Google and Bing column, that this website currently does not rank in the top 10. Now, it might be number 11, but it's not on that first page of the Google ranking. So for all of these keywords that we put in here, they are not currently in the top 10 in Google or Bing. If we look in this column here where it says average monthly searches, this gives us an idea of how many people might be looking for these keywords. So electrical contractors, Winston-Salem, is less than 100 keywords. Now less than 100 searches on average per month. Now, that does not mean that this is a keyword you don't want to target. That simply means that it might be more of a niche keyword where it's what we would consider a long tail keyword, and that it might not, give you tons of traffic coming to your site. If you do get that keyword and you are in the top 10, it's probably just going to bring you really targeted traffic. So it's not that we're going to ignore that keyword. We just would want to take a look and see if that's something we really wanted to optimize for. And if we look at the PPC competition column, this is pay per click competition. So that's your Google AdWords. And it's just showing you how competitive if other companies are already bidding on this keyword. So this is less than 20%, which is not a very competitive keyword. It does get more competitive. So if we look down here at this HVAC contractors, Winston-Salem, that is a much more competitive keyword at 85.71% with the competition there. So we continue scrolling down. It just kind of gives the keywords that we've included in there as keywords that they might want to be found for. And it just gives you, we put in 20 or so of those, so it gives you all of that information on there. So it looks like this client, there's a lot of room for improvement because they're not in the top 10 for any of those keywords that we thought might be a good idea for them to actually be found for. Okay, so if we go down to page 11, we're going to look at a pay-per-click opportunity. Now, this client actually was interested in doing some pay per click and having their paid advertising go to a landing page that would be highly targeted and highly focused on conversions of having someone fill out that form. So we did do a pay per click kind of review on this one as well. We put in a budget of $600. I'm going to zoom out here a little bit just so we can see this full screen. So it showed pay-per-click opportunity for some of the keywords that we had selected. Here's an ad from Mr. Electric, North Carolina, and it shows just a real ad that actually is competing against some of those keywords that we had looked at up above for the organic opportunity. And again, I had put in that they had a budget that they had told me they had a budget of $600 per month. So I included that budget. And what we're saying is if you do the $600 a month, your expected monthly click is, this gives an exact number. I would tell the client it's going to be around 350 clicks based on that budget. We would be spending that budget, 60% of it actually on search, so actually on pay-per-click search terms. 10% would be on remarketing. So if someone has searched for HVAC in Winston-Salem and they've seen your ad come up and maybe they've even clicked through to your website, then now if they go to Facebook or if they go to another website that they're looking at, if they're reading the newspaper online, for example, then they might also see a remarketed or retargeted ad on that newspaper site that also shows now an ad for this company that does HVAC work. So that's the remarketing, where they've come to your website and then they go off your website and then they go somewhere else and they're reading something else online and they're able to actually then see an ad again as well. So you're remarketing to them. So 10% would be spent on that, and 30% would be spent on content creation and content development. So that's that budget there. Now, again, I could have put in a budget of $1,000 or $20,000 and these numbers would have changed. So that's just, I knew that the client had a $600 budget, and that is why I put in that information for the pay-per-click or AdWords or Google Ads. All right, I'm going to zoom back in here so we can see. The next thing we look at is site security. So just taking a look to see, is your website hackable, is the headline on this page. Now, this certainly isn't going to tell you 100% definitive if your website is hackable or not, but it does look at a few things. So it looks at your website is not currently blacklisted, there's no virus detected, there's no malicious downloads detected, no Trojans. So it looks just to kind of look at the overall domain health. If there's any red flags happening, this would detect it here. Now, of course, if there had been something installed on your website and it's sitting dormant, then this report's not necessarily going to catch it. So this is certainly not an end-all, be-all site security check, but it does just kind of give you an idea of if there is a giant gaping hole in your website that's really obvious, this is going to detect that for you. So this one gives green thumbs up all the way around. So it looks like we're doing pretty good as far as the security goes. Now, earlier in the report, we looked at on-page optimization. Remember, that was title tags, keyword-rich content, things like hyperlinking on your page. So we actually looked at the page itself and what was involved on that page. This next section looks at off-page optimization. So these are things that you can do not to your website, but off of your website that can help you rank well in the search engines. And a lot of this has to do with linking or getting backlinks to your website. So having other websites link to your site. That's a part of the search engine optimization strategy, is getting those links back to your site. So what this is doing is it is taking a look at some of the links that are coming back to this site and telling us really how good they are. So this one tells us there's 753 total links coming back to this website. So it searched the internet and found 753 links coming back to this website. Now that sounds like a lot and might be great. The problem is only 102 of those are what we would call juice passing links. Now, juice passing links are the good ones. You want more juice passing links. That, and I'll probably just read the definition here. It's in short, a link that passes juice is a link that helps the target page rank better. So, if you have these 102 links, these might be coming from directories or from Chamber of Commerce type association websites that are linking back to this HVAC company, or it could be customer testimonials, it could be Facebook, it could be things like that are actually linking back that help the website rank better. So this does a quick review on the links that are coming in, the external backlinks, the number of IPs that are coming in, and this is an important number too, because out of 706 backlinks those 706 backlinks are coming from 39 IP addresses. So this tells us that, of those IP addresses, one of them might have, 100 links coming back to the site, and it's most likely it's excuse me, its own website linking to itself. So when you have, click here to contact us, something like that, and you create a link, that's a link back to your own page. So, excuse me while I take a drink of water there. So what this is saying is that of those 706 backlinks, it's coming from 39 unique IP addresses. Ideally, this number is going to be higher. So you wanted it to be maybe 700 backlinks coming from 200 unique IP addresses. And that just means that there's 200 unique websites that are linking directly back to your site. And the higher that number, the better and more help your page is going to get to rank better. So this off-page section just quickly looks at the number of links coming back into your website and the quality of those links coming back into your website. All right, this next section is NAP details, and NAP is not what you want to do on an afternoon, even though you might want to. NAP is name, address, and phone number. So making sure that your contact information, your name, address, and phone number is consistent across all directories and Facebook and Yelp and all of those different places. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. Got a little tickle in my throat. Okay, so the name, address, and phone number details, you want to make sure that it's consistent across the web so that your address always reads the same, your phone number is always the same 10 digits, that your zip code is always either 5 or the 5+4. But everything is consistent. So this is telling us is for this HVAC company, their current visibility across the internet is 36.3% versus the industry average. So take their competitor sites, and their competitor sites are sitting at closer of a 77% industry average. So if we scroll down a little bit, we'll see kind of how that score is calculated. And it says in the search engines, there are one possible error, and then one they're just missing their information. Now this could be an address that's missing. It could be the listing itself is completely missing. So we'd want to go and part of our SEO packages are actually going in and making sure that all of the information is submitted correctly to the various directories and search engines. So this is telling us in the search engines, one has an error and one is missing information. On the review sites, again, one has an error and two are missing information. Directory sites out of the 22 that we looked at, 13 missing, 9 possible errors, and the social sites, 3 are missing. So this one, this could make a big difference for this company, is making sure that across all directories, search engines, review sites, social sites, they've got their name, address, and phone number listed correctly. Now, this could be an issue for this company particularly because they have more than one location. So they have a location in Winston-Salem, and then they have a location somewhere else in North Carolina. So this could be a situation where they're using the other address, and our report is simply looking for the Winston-Salem address, but they're using their other address on the review site. So some of this you might want to take a look and see, is there a reason why this is happening? And for this one, there quite possibly is. The fact that there are no accurate listings out there for a company of this size seems a little suspicious to me. So it's likely that they're probably just using their other address, their other non-headquarters address, as their address in the directories. But that's something you'd want to take a look at and just verify that that's actually what is happening. Now, if we scroll down, we take a quick look at their reviews. So it says, just kind of a quick snapshot on what we could put together is there are some 4 to 5 star, what we would consider positive reviews. 3 stars would be more neutral. 1 to 2 stars would be negative. So you can see the total reviews, they have 3 total reviews. 2 are positive and 1 is negative. So it just gives the average rating of 3.67 out of 5, where the industry average is 4 out of 5. So we'd want to just take a look at it with this client and see what we could do to help their clients leave reviews. The other thing that I would look at when I was reviewing this with a client is that of their 2 positive reviews, they both happen on the same day, which to me, again, as a consumer, if I was looking to hire this company, that looks somewhat suspicious. Either it's a person that has 2 different Google accounts, or this HVAC company has sent out an email blast or a blast to their customers saying, hey, please go review us. And that's the only reason they got those positive reviews, was not organically or authentically, it was because of some other reason. So as a consumer, I would look at that and say, that's interesting that those came from the same day. And I might then, if I'm the company owner, I might look to seek to get additional reviews so that it doesn't look so suspicious having those be on the exact same day. All right, we're getting close to the end here, so bear with me. But if we get down here, down into the social engagement, I'm going to back out a little bit. This page, so I happen to know a little bit about this company just because I was on a conference call and we've done a subsequent proposal for them. But they have 150 employees, and they're one of the largest HVAC companies in the Winston-Salem, North Carolina area. And yet they only have 55 Facebook likes. So that doesn't even tell you that a third of their employees don't even like their own company on Facebook, which seems to be an issue. So their social engagement, they're not doing great. They've got a 2.1 out of 10. They do have a business page, which is great. They're not actively utilizing it. No one has actually done any shares on their Facebook page. Same thing with their Twitter profile. They have one, but they've literally never posted to it, and they've never, there is not a share button on their website that links to their Twitter account. They do not have a Google Plus, which I'm not sure that is going to be a difference maker anymore with the changes happening for Google Plus. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. But they haven't even claimed their Google Plus page at this point. So there are some definite social engagement improvements that they could make in order to increase this score for their social engagement. And then the last page that we have here is just some competitive matrix. I'm going to zoom back in so we can see this a little bit. So we put in two different competitors, and these are two that I happen to know, again, from the customer that they had given us, that these were two of their biggest competitors. So we put in Webb HVAC and Logan HVAC are their two competitors, and we just did a quick analysis on their two competitors as well. So here's the company that we're reviewing is Sylvester Cockrum. So that's the company that we're reviewing. And they've got, out of all of their links, they've got 86% are non-juice passing. Remember, those are the kind we don't really care about. They don't help our website rank better. 14% of them are juice passing. And then you can see that score doesn't sound great, but then if we look at their competitors are 95 and 5. So 95% non-juice passing and 5% juice passing. And then even their biggest competitor, Logan, is 90% non-juice passing and 10% juice passing. So even though ours doesn't look great, it does look better than the competitors. However, if we get further down the screen here, if we look at link saturation, which are the number of pages that Google has indexed, 93 for our customer, 98 for one of their competitors, and then this is the big difference here is 941 indexed pages in Google for one of their major competitors. Now this is huge. Now this is probably blog posts or calendar events or PDFs and articles and things like that, but 941 pages, that gives Google a ton of information about this customer where they can go and find information about Logan HVAC and everything that company does. So when we're looking at this, 941 pages in Google compared to our 10% of that, which is 93, that's something we would want to talk to the customer about. Now, if we go down and look at domain authority has, to do with how long the domain has been owned, what the registration looks like. So the domain authority, again, for their biggest customer or biggest competitor here, they have a 33 versus our 16 with, 1,367 juice passing links versus our 102. And then the total link count there is much higher for our competitor. And then the Ahrefs, this is again links metrics. They have 203 referring domains. So 203 unique domain names are linking back to Logan, where only 35 unique domain names are linking back to us. 39 IP addresses versus their 175 IP addresses. So those backlinks that we talked about up on the off-page optimization page, those are making a big difference as far as the ranking signals for these two companies. And that's the last page of our report. So again, it's a 17-page report, pretty comprehensive, that looks at really if there's any major holes in the site. You notice it doesn't talk about design because design is pretty subjective. The only thing that you see in this report on design is whether or not it's mobile optimized. So is it optimized and viewable on a handheld device? That's really the only thing you're going to see about design as far as design on this report. Everything else it looks at is pretty technical and pretty objective. So it's pretty black and white. You can see that the page is optimized or not, that they're either using social media or not, that they have title tags or not. So we try and make it a pretty objective report so that they could attempt to argue with it, but there's really no arguing that they're not doing these things that they should be doing or that they are doing these things that they should be doing. So that is the website audit report. Are there any questions that I can answer on this tool, how to use it? It's a great tool for prospecting. So if you are going to a trade show and you wanted to have an offer for people to start talking about these digital services, this is a great one. Say, hey, we'll run a free website audit for you, and you can email it to them. It comes in a PDF form. You can email it directly to the client. And I tell you what, when the client sees 48 out of 100, or like I said earlier, that one that got 7 out of 100, it kind of makes them pay attention. It takes a look at, well, what the heck, what are we doing, or what could we be doing differently to make sure that our website is easier to find? Yeah, so the question just came in, can we get this done for our own website as well? Yeah, happy to do it. So if you have a website you want us to run this on, just send me an email, Patrice at Profusion Dealer, or Bob at Profusion Dealer, or Peg at Profusion Dealer, and any one of us can run this report for you. Again, it does take a few hours to run the report, just because it does have to go and look at so many different areas. So give us a day, and then we can run it for you and have it sent to you. If you are using a pro forma website, if you are using one of the Proforma, it's on a subdomain, so yourcompany.proforma.com. A lot of this is going to be outside of your control. I know that you can't do a lot of this on that site. So if you're using that, you might see a low score, and there might not be some things you can do about that. Yeah. So another good question just came in. The question is, Patrice, can you give a quick overview of how we involve you after the report has been run? Yeah, that's a good question, but it's kind of up to you at that point. With this gentleman that we've been working with, Roger from KC Creative, he has, every time he's talked to somebody about a digital opportunity, that be website, search engine optimization, email marketing, pay-per-click marketing, social marketing, he's introduced us as his digital arm. So he would send an email to the client of saying, what he did with this one was, hey, Cody from Sylvester and Cockrum. Hey, Cody, here's the website audit I promised you. I'm copying Patrice, my digital head, on this email. I'd love to set up a conference call with you to review the audit and talk to you about what we can do to, up Sylvester Cockrum in the search engine results pages. So it can be something as simple as that, and then I either respond with, hey, Cody, it's nice to meet you. What time works for you next week, or whatever. We can be as involved or as uninvolved as you want us to be. So with this situation, what we do for Roger is we really kind of handle it from the moment he makes that introduction. We handle it from that point. Now, I do request that Roger do a lot of the follow-up so that I'm not having to chase after some of his clients. But if after we deliver the proposal and after we, or after we do the conference call, then we deliver the proposal to the client. And then after that, I request that Roger do the follow-up to make sure that the client doesn't have any questions and actually, kind of complete the sales process at that point. And then we get involved once they say, yep, we're ready to go. Then we step back in and start doing we introduce everyone that needs to be introduced to the project, and then get started with the whatever we've come to an agreement on for the project. So we are super involved in that type of situation, but we do have other clients who we run the reports for, and they don't introduce us at all until it's time to actually start the project. So we can be as involved or as uninvolved as you need us to be. Hopefully that answered your question. So the question just came in, how do we get a review of a customer's website? Right now, you can just email me, Patrice at profusiondealer.com. There is a request form on the website, but you need a username and a password to get to it, and I haven't sent out usernames and passwords yet. So you can email us first, and then shortly I'll send a link out to where you can go and actually request to generate this report on your own. Okay. I don't see any other questions coming in. I really appreciate the conversation. Hopefully this has been helpful. These are great little tools. Again, they just get people thinking when they see that score on the screen. It's hard to argue that there isn't anything else they could be doing to make their digital presence a little bit better. So if you have any other questions or you need a report run, go ahead and shoot me an email. And hopefully we will get to work with a lot of you more soon. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you next week. Thanks a lot.